What is happening, all you sexy YouTube warriors out there? Range Day Bro back at it again, and today we're going to be talking about the Scar 17 Heavy in 308. Let's get into it. If you've ever wanted a gun just because you used it in a video game and saw it in a bunch of movies, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button, guys. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the reason I wanted the Scar 17 so badly. Since I was a young kid, I've always dreamt of owning this rifle, and here we are today. I'm a lucky man. God bless America. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know it's been quite a little while since I've posted, and you may notice a little bit of hardware here on the ring finger for being the reason that I've been tardy. So I appreciate you guys joining me back on the channel, and thank you all in advance for the well wishes. I'll let Mrs. Range Day Bro know. Today we have a very special video for you guys. Besides being the first video I'm making as a married man, I also have one of my absolute dream guns here, if not my most desired gun I've ever wanted in my life, here sitting in my hands, the Scar 17 in 308. Yes, I know it's not the 50 Shades FDE version. However, it is the non-reciprocating charging handle version, which makes me a very happy man. And you got to get what you can get these days. It's very hard to get your hands on these guns, especially guns like this that are so sought after. Today, we're going to be talking mostly about the upgrades that I've made to this gun, and it is not a shooting review. We'll have a shooting review coming out soon in the future, so stay tuned for that. And for my YouTube manual reviewers, this is not a customization video. I'm not doing any of this on camera. This is just for educational purposes, so keep that in mind. Thank you very much. But for right now, we're going to be talking about the upgrades I've made. Yes, just like all of my other guns, when I saw the Scar's ability to morph from what it started as, which I'll roll in a picture here, and then what it can become to this, I just couldn't rest until I got exactly what I wanted. And this guy and these guns are a work of art. As you guys all know, if you follow my channel, I look at these things like a work of art. So this is my masterpiece, so to speak, or I guess FN's masterpiece with a few other goodies sprinkled in. So let's just start tip to butt as we normally do, as we are inspired by my boy Grand Thumb, the legend. And we will start from up front here and work our way back and just talk about the parts I have in it. Obviously up here, you guys all know I've standardized, as all my guns have, with the Chemo flash hider. This guy is specifically made for the Scar. It was kind of a bummer. Didn't realize the Scar has a special muzzle device. Just like most AKs, it requires face mounting. I did have to use some face shims in here in order to get this timed properly, which on a flash hider, you don't really have to time it. But you know me, I'm kind of OCD, so I wanted to have that guy where I'd index it right up top. So I bought this guy from Dead Air directly, and I used some face shims that I had left over from my JMac Customs up here to get that guy mounted up onto the 16-inch stock barrel. And now the star of the show is going to be the Kinetic Development Group NRCH rail here. This is the NRCH Mark II. As you can see down here on the bottom, we'll roll in some close-ups of this guy. It is absolutely a stunner, a showstopper. I love this thing. It absolutely completely transformed the entire look of the Scar. Also gave me way more real estate to work with. The original OEM rail ended right here where you see these sling loops. That just wasn't enough rail space. It had some Picatinny rail on both sides. So by going with the NRCH, what you do is you extend your rail space, which gives you a lot more real estate for bipods, things like that, giving you more stability, especially with a bipod, but also gives you the ability to mount way more things out here. And it only increases your weight by a few ounces. I forget what the exact number is. However, it really is a minimal amount of weight to be added in order for the benefits that you get with it. It's a super easy install, and it attaches to your barrel, and then once it's attached, it is rock solid. I mean, you can carry the whole gun by this front end, and it barely moves at all. So moving on back from there, we just got a Magpul sling loop up here. I know there's plenty of accessories that you can add to the Scar to put a QD cup up here on these sling loops, and obviously any M-lock section would work as well. But for where I'm putting my grip right here, I wanted to have my sling mounted a little further back, so that's why I got that guy right there. As I mentioned, this is the non-reciprocating charging handle model, but there's no real way without shooting for me to show you that, so you'll just have to take my word for it. It is ambidextrous, so it comes with a charging handle on both sides. The one on the right hand side, or the AK side, typically is a little bit shorter, but those can be switched around if you'd like to. And the one on the other side of the gun, the primary charging handle, is angled down, so you don't have to worry about dragging your knuckles and scraping them on your QD mounts for your optics and whatever you're running over here. Now, like every other SCAR, it is ambidextrous for the mag release. The bolt release is only on the left side of the gun, like a typical AR. The SCAR has a very similar operator's manual to the AR-15s. What I've done to the lower, obviously you guys notice there's a Magpul K2 grip on here. This guy is no stranger to the channel. This is one of my absolute most favorite grips. Yes, I did have to modify the lower of the SCAR a little bit in order to get this on here. And you'll also notice, if you look very closely, that there is a Geisley trigger in here. While we're at it, let's just go ahead and dose this trigger together. So we are clear, we are good to go. Quadruple check, took our safety off, which is also a Kinetic Development Group upgrade. As you notice, it's the Radian Raptor selector here. Just like any Geisley 2-stage, you got that little bit of take up. It's very smooth. You hit a wall, and then from that wall, absolutely no creep, no play, just breaks nice and clean like glass. The reset, very short, and then a little bit of travel after the reset back to the wall, which is a bit of a difference from most other Geisley triggers I'm used to. And then right back on the wall, right back to breaking again. So I'm coming up, resets, and then I'm back on the wall. I already mentioned the Kinetic Development Group Ambi Radian selector. Really a huge fan of that. That is the standard that I have on all my AR-15, so you guys will recognize that from all my other builds. And then just going back from there, the last thing I have upgraded is I got rid of the UGG boot. Do I regret it? A little bit. Now, I didn't throw it away. I didn't get rid of it. I could always go back to it if I want to, but I did like the look of the ACR style stock much, much better. The only thing that I don't like about this, much like the OEM stock, is that it's got just a tiny bit of play in it. Just a little bit more play than I'd like to see for the price that this thing cost. And when it's folded, this is just plastic on plastic. So you'll notice right here on the groove, that's what actually causes the retention. What causes it to stay is that angle that it has there on the side, on the hinge there. And it's just plastic on plastic. And as you open it and close it, you'll see that it starts to wear a little bit. And then you have a little bit of floppy stock syndrome. So that's the only other thing that I don't like. The OEM stock has a clip there. I would have just loved to see KDG put a little clip, just like the OEM stock has, on there to mitigate that and put a little bit less pressure on that hinge to perform. Yeah, I got a little bit of a qualm with that just for the price of the stock. But this is a 16-inch 308. This is going to be a battle rifle. This isn't exactly the precision bench gun that my other AR-10 308 is. That's more of my long range. I've shot to 1,000 yards with that. This I would like to see effective out to 800 yards, running and gunning, and just kind of serving a multi-purpose role. That's why I have the Trijicon Credo on here. And you guys have seen this scope before on the channel. It's the 1:8. Love this scope, but with that 1 power, I could still run and gun, go in and out of small areas, and really do some up close work if I needed to. All right, guys, so ergonomically speaking, this thing is absolutely a beast. Now, it is not as heavy as it looks. I know it looks heavy on camera, and this optic does make it go up a little bit, quite a bit in weight. However, because the SCAR is so light to begin with, I'm able to put a more beefy optic on here. The way the KDG works, it gives you a lot more room to grip out front if you want to get a more of a forward C-clamp and really shoot your arm out there if you're a really tall guy. I'm 6'1", and I think that's too far for me. This gas block gets really hot when you start shooting it, so I don't want my thumb anywhere near this front sight here. So that's why I mounted my grip a little further back, and this way I can mount my light up front and still access the tail cap, because I'm not a huge fan of pressure pads. So I like that, having that option. And right here is where it feels comfortable for me to have a good solid grip on the gun. So changing over from the A2 grip to the K2 is probably single-handedly the biggest improvement I made. It was the most nerve-wracking to make because you're, dremeling your $4,000 rifle. So that was a little bit nerve-wracking, but this is easily the biggest improvement that has been made to this, because the A2 grip angle is quite the old school forward angle, which isn't as bad on a big battle rifle like this. However, I standardized on the K2 a long time ago. It's either this or the Reptila grip. That's what I run. It makes it just a way more familiar feeling in the hand, and when I'm presenting the gun, it makes it a lot easier for me to recognize how the gun's going to react, and the position of my hand and my forearm. It just makes it feel a lot more familiar. So that is one of the biggest improvements. The SCAR came with an ambidextrous safety, but again, the safety selector, I mean, these are the things that I'm touching constantly, is the selector, the trigger, and the grip. But just those two upgrades have made quite the difference in the shooting experience. I do wish that FN actually gave you the ability to use AR pistol grips from the factory. It seems kind of silly that they haven't yet, because mil-spec is one of the, I mean, mil-spec dominates the market right now, and there's thousands of pistol grip options on the market. So I do wish that was the case. However, again, with a little bit of modification, and I know Parker Mountain Machine does sell AR pistol grips that are modified. The grips are modified so that they could fit the SCAR. I just didn't want to fork over $50 for an AR pistol grip, so that's why I did the work on the lower myself. I'd encourage all you guys to do your own research on that before you start dremeling your $4,000 rifles. But that pretty much covers all the upgrades that I've made to this gun. What's it like to shoot? We'll go over that more in the shooting review, but it's a dream. Thank you guys so much for stopping by the channel. That's gonna wrap up the video for today. If it's your first time here, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you're a return viewer, then thank you for your loyalty, you sexy YouTube warriors. I know that I couldn't be here without you guys, so thank you so much for staying to the end of the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay dangerous, range day bro, out.